So easy?
So much easier than Facebook.
Yeah, the only bad thing about YouTube is you can only have 2 people,
Oh,
but it's not bad for us because there's 2 of us.
I just was trying to get my phone propped up and I got away from it.
So, this is Seton Tucker. Seton, introduce yourself for people that haven't met you before.
Oh, it's been a while.
I
I'm
know.
Seton Tucker. I am the host of Impact of Influence, co-host podcast.
And I have, like many Americans, been binge watching the new Hulu series.
I got a preview. I watched the whole thing before
How
it.
many episodes are there?
I think they're 8.
So there are 4 out now. I've seen the 4, right?
Yes, it's either I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I did like I was weird and I had to sign all these things. Like I would not release any like stuff about it ahead of time. So I really had to keep it confidential.
Well, so the Murdoch family from South Carolina, obviously, Seton has been covering this story for a while. And this new Hulu series, what do you think about it?
I there were certain things I really loved about it. I thought the actor who played Paul Murdoch was amazing. Like, I loved that that actor gave dimension to Paul and didn't just make him like this big ogre Timmy character. I thought that was really good because everyone has good and bad things, and I personally don't truly believe that Paul Murdoch was all bad. I mean, certainly
Yeah, yeah,
he did really awful things that had horrible consequences. But I went to the trial. I sat in on it, and I heard
right.
his friends testify that he was the guy you went to when you needed somebody to help you out with something. So
Mm,
again, I think that he obviously had really issues. I kind of feel like maybe alcohol was a super bad thing for him,
right.
but I love the dimension because they showed the bad and the good with him. So I thought that was really well done, and I'm a huge fan of Patricia Arquette, so I loved that part of it too.
Mhm. So, what I found interesting is that I didn't realize how many things, how much of a domino effect everything was.
It's so weird that you say that because I thought the same thing until I read recently. Alec Murdoch is still appealing his murder trial based on, among other things, but the biggest one is this jury tampering allegations by the clerk of court. And I just a couple weeks ago read the state's brief, and they outlined this whole domino effects and the pressure in such a great way. And I thought this series did a good job kind of showing the kind of the that that he was under at that time.
Yeah, you could just see these like pressure, 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 pressure. And even sometimes, you think of like 2 paths diverged in a wood and I took the one less traveled by.
Right.
Was so in episode, I mean, and I'm not giving it away if you hadn't seen it, but they had where they were trying to do the settlement with the boat with the beach family. And he was ready to do kind of a big settlement. And like at the last minute, he bailed out. And I think like, boy, even if that settlement, I think that could have changed the trajectory of everything.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that that could have, and I do feel like, I mean, I think there's still many unanswered questions with exactly what happened that evening. I don't think that we may never know. But no, I do think that the show or the series portrayed like just the, that strain that he was under. It was weird. Like we've gotten so many comments, since since the series, and I do think it's important to kind of point out that this is not a documentary. You know,
Right. Right.
they're
Right.
definitely they take, to quote Becky Hill, literary ease. Not everything is factual, which is what happened.
Right.
And I see a lot of people kind of get bogged down in well, we know, I keep seeing the comment of, well, Gloria Satterfield was already dead when the boat accident occurred, like that sort of thing, like these kind of details. And I get it because I notice those things too myself. But also, we have to take into account that this is just, it's a fictionalized version.
Did they go to the Bahamas? Was that true?
They did, but that was before the boat accident too. So that was
Oh, well,
that
now I don't like that a bit
that
because that
was weird.
I think that's really not good. Like that to me is I don't like that.
Well, because we're getting comments on people. Like I keep getting the comments over and over again about, well, Buster killed Stephen Smith, or he did. They watch these things, and people think those things, and they're kind of take a serious. You have to know it's not gospel. We're not listening to court testimony. We're not. It's not a documentary. That this is a fictionalized version, which is it's a whole other thing. Like I've just been coming to terms with the whole true crime genre a little bit. I'm in it myself. We're watching
Mhm.
things for fictionalized purposes, but like I got to see they portray the murder scene. I don't Is that because I watched it a few weeks back. Did the murder scene happen in episode
Well,
4?
we're not there yet. We're on episode 4 came out
It, ha-
today.
it hasn't come up yet, right? The murder.
No, the
It's a big.
last thing today was let's see, Gloria's died. Paul tried to see if Anthony would be his friend. That didn't happen. I think that's about as far as they are.
Well, they show the murder scene, which in a future episode, which is really super graphic. It is very graphic, and I had a hard time watching it. And I've like this week we had we had Blanca on our podcast.
Yes. So I haven't listened yet, but everybody is like, "Oh my gosh, that was the best episode." Tell me about that. And if you want to remind them where they can go to watch it too.
Oh, you can find us Impact of Influence on you know Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you watch. Oh, and we're trying to get our YouTube up and going, which I'm watching myself on YouTube and I want to cry. Matt is not very good with camera angle.
So Blanca was the housekeeper. She made dinner that night of the murder. I
We
mean,
we
she's just come out with a book or has a book coming out.
It's not, yes, it's not released yet. I think hopefully she's gonna come on and talk to y'all. But
Yeah, next week.
yay, she is so lady. I've had lunch with her, over the summer and spoken with her and her a couple of times, and we have a podcast.
Hold on. Sorry. We've got what's going on in here? Okay, well let's
What's
got a oh we've just got a flood going on in here. Oh, you got your rainbow but the rain we have an emergency seat and we have a cup stuck in the rainbow cup.
oh gosh, that is an emergency.
It is.
I
But
do.
Amos took a shower all by himself tonight. Turned the water on and washed his hair all by himself. This is big news in the autism land over
That
here.
is big news. That's milestone for sure.
Almost 12. Okay. So go back. So, okay, Blanca, you had lunch.
Like I'm watching this murder scene, and I actually reached out to Fran, her co-author, and said, "Hey, I don't know what episode that comes off, but like, don't let her watch this murder scene because I had a hard time watching it." And she will really, because that was the thing when we spoke with her on our podcast. She really, like, she loved Paul. She really, really loved Paul, and she loved Maggie too. She loved Maggie and she loved Paul, and she spoke a bunch of times to the actor who portrayed Paul, and just said, you know, please don't do him wrong. Don't do this, like this, cartoonish Paul is just this bad guy.
No, and I didn't think that. I kinda thought like you did. I felt like I was
Good.
one thing that didn't I kept thinking like, "Isn't he in college? I don't see him going to any classes." Um,
I mean, it's fictionalized. Yeah, I didn't see that. I mean, I don't, I, again, they made in the episode one, when they made they Maggie threw the party for the Alex's dad getting the Order of the Palmetto award, and then that was the same night they left for the boat accident, which was not,
mm,
the Order of the Palmetto years before that boating accident. That wasn't the night of the boat. That wasn't any sort of night. They had gone to an oyster roast. So all of this is just it's a condensed version of it. Again, that's what happened.
right.
I like to watch these things, but then I've never been on the side of watching one of these like series or dramatized versions of a true crime event where I've actually spoken with people who've been close to the people who are being portrayed, like Blanca.
Mm.
In the past, I've spoken to John Marvin, and I do think that it's just you just have to be mindful that this is not truth, and then also I am myself just coming to grips with like, okay, these are real people behind these characters.
Well, I thought about that today when you and I were talking about having you come on. We talk about it, but I think I was thinking like, boy, how is Buster doing? Buster has had this life of, his whole life is upside down, and it seems like he has a supportive family, which is super helpful. But like, you lose your brother and your mother and your dad essentially, who doesn't, like, does not, I don't know. It just,
Or again, and I don't know, like it seemed last I had heard that Buster, you know, believed that his dad was, still believed his dad was not guilty, but I don't know if he's changed his mind. I don't know, but whether he has or hasn't, it's still like there was a very graphic. Did you see the sex scene?
oh, ugh.
Like
What
that,
the hell was what? Like,
like
well,
that.
one, like, I know sex sells, but that was not the kind of sex that people want to watch.
No, it was almost like
It
almost
was
like a
horrible.
and then I kept thinking, "Oh my gosh, like Buster has to watch, or I don't know. Hopefully, he's not watching that. But can you imagine? Nobody even wants to think of their parents having sex. But good lord, that would be
It
a very
it
bad.
was terrible.
Like it was borderline. Like I, you,
Like, Russell was making lunch, and I had to press pause in the kitchen because
no,
I was like, "Oh my god, this is, like, full purity disgusting."
it was kind of next level, and I did like, and we don't know what happened. So that obviously nobody, as far as I know, they don't have any sort of you know video.
Yeah, like, well, you were thinking, like, how would they anyway, what they're just yeah.
That's drama.
Well,
You
so Blanca, what is tell me about Blanca's book without, giving it away.
Okay, I don't have the title in front of me, but she's really very close to Maggie. We posted it on our the link to it on our Facebook page. I think pre-orders are available, but I think it should be out later this year. But she just tells it from the perspective of somebody who really knew the family. It's a there's been a lot of books that have been written about this. And I think it's just a completely different perspective from somebody who actually really knew the family. And I thought when I started my podcast, about the Murdoch family, I thought certainly I'm going to be able to find somebody to talk to me about Maggie Murdoch because, you know, we're close in age. It's a small state.
Mhm.
I felt like, oh, for sure, I'm going to be able to find somebody to talk to me about what Maggie Murdoch was like as a person. I
Right.
struck out in every place. So this is the first person that I think has really given a voice to Maggie and Paul because she knew them. She worked inside the home every day. I think going to be really interesting and much different from, again, not dishing all the other books because I think there've been really great other books. Like trying to organize my, but
Well, it's just so different. It'd be like it's like, you know, being the mother of a child with autism versus being a physician who specializes in autism.
right, right.
It's a totally different I think it's a different perspective. So somebody listened to your podcast and they said, I was intrigued by Blanca talking about seeing the towel in Alec's vehicle from the police body cam video and that being the moment.
That
Was it a beach towel?
Yes, that was her aha moment. Because if you think about it, Blanca stayed. She
Just give us we want people to go watch listen to your podcast, but give us the background for those of who don't know it.
So Blanca worked for the Murdoch family. She actually knew Alec first because she is bilingual. So she helped him out as a translator in several other cases. Um, she worked for the family at times, but then I think after Gloria Satterfield passed, she worked more for the family. So she was, at the time of the murder, she was there every day. She, would do general housekeeping and I think cook meals and that sort of thing. Um, but after the she couldn't she was actually went the day of the murders. She was so Alec called her and told her about it. She stopped by um Alec's parents'
She was
house.
there the night before, she made dinner.
Yeah, the night before she made dinner for the family. And then the day after she's told that they're murdered, Alex says, "Can you go? The family's coming to the house. Can you go clean up?" So she's goes back the next day, and we did kind of
The house, right?
what's that? Sorry.
The police never went in the house.
They did go in the house. She said that there were police in the house, but they did not consider the house a crime scene, which is really very, very unusual and odd that they did not consider the house a crime scene. So she gets there, you know, the morning after the murders to clean up, and things are amiss. I mean, she notices that there are pots of food in the fridge, which I think, according to what I've been told, maybe family members were also allowed in there the night before they put stuff up. But, she notices that Blanca's pajamas were or Maggie's pajamas were kind of laid out in an odd fashion, not like she would with a pair of underwear, which she didn't wear underwear at night. And she notices, just some things that seemed a bit off. She couldn't have imagined that Alec had anything to do with it. And she actually continued to work for him after. But I think her aha moment was when she got to see a video of one of the interviews that was conducted. And she sees this towel that she had washed the day before and it was folded in the car. She was like, "Well, you have this car. Why would he take that?" So that was kind of an aha moment for her that that's what changed in as to guilt.
And the other thing that she said is his clothes, she never could find the clothes that he had on that day.
No, and that was something that was definitely talked about during the trial, and she felt like Alec when he approached her and said, "Do you remember these clothing that I had? I was wearing this, Vinnie Vines t-shirt or you know shirt," and she felt like that was, something that was odd. And but then again, also I question the investigation by SLED. Like, why weren't they trying to, lock down and keep all these things? Now they didn't discover, videos on Paul's phone until much later because it took them some period of time to unlock Paul's phone, which his passcode was his birthday.
Like the month and the year.
Yeah, like 0605 or whatever his birthday was. I don't even know.
Right. Right. Not amazingly hard. Well, she that to me, I still, to be quite honest, have a really hard time understanding someone killing their son. Like that gets that's really hard for me to wrap my mind around. But when I see the and now what you're saying, well, a lot of this movie isn't necessarily, it's a movie, it's not a documentary. What was happening, what got me, there were two things. One, where were the clothes he had on? Clothes don't disappear unless you live in my house, they might.
Well,
But
he had not been you clothes don't well, yes, clothes disappear in my house all the time. We can't, especially socks. But he had really been kind of living out of the suitcase after the murders. He never spent another night in Moselle after the murders of Maggie and Paul. So, argument made that maybe he left it somewhere. I don't know. To me,
well, just morning, they weren't there.
well, yeah, yes.
You know?
Need to when you have Blanca on next week, please dig into this more because I think that's something.
Yeah, so this will be, yeah, that's really, so I've got some like general things that I'm like, okay, I really want to know about that. And just knowing how stuff happens in my house or laundry or things. The other big thing, didn't he ask her to kind of almost lie for him?
That was about the clothing. Like that was about, hey, remember I was wearing or Benny Vine shirt, whatever it was. It was about
That's right, right.
caring when he left for when he I guess when he left for work that morning that he was wearing something. I don't know.
The other big thing to me was at the crime scene, totally irrelevant to Blanca, but when Alex said that he picked up Paul by his belt loops to turn him over, and the phone had come out. And so what it said to me was he was trying to get a hold of that phone and realized it was locked and put it back, because you would never pick up your dead son by his belt loops.
Very strange. Yes.
And like he had no blood on him. I just, again, I mean, there's somebody earlier commented like there were two shooters, but like nobody, why would anybody else have wanted them dead? Nobody would have.
I still go back and forth that I don't know 100% that I'm not convinced that there was either some another shooter. I don't know 100% that there wasn't. Not, I mean, I definitely think that someone and Blanca, I think, was in this. She said someone had to be involved in the cleanup process, or there had to be someone else who was involved in some way.
Wonder what if cousin Eddie is always lurking around.
Did fail that polygraph test.
He did fail.
I mean, not
But
people fail nervous or there's reasons people fail polygraph tests, but he
whatever happened with the whole like raincoat tarp stuff at his mother's house?
I mean the raincoat tarp, I mean it was, they they found the raincoat that the caregiver Michelle said it was a tarp and there was some sort of confusion. To me, I, that was enough for me as far as the trial was concerned because cumulative amount of information that leads you to believe one way or another. But to me, they found a raincoat, a blue raincoat in the closet that had some gunshot residue, but I'm convinced that everything in Hampton has gunshot residue on it. To me, that wasn't, I mean, I think it all boiled down to that, the kennel video with him lying, saying he was there just moments before the murders and he was there. And then I do think Blanca's saying, about this towel situation. I definitely think that towel, like why was the towel in the car unless you needed to dry something off?
Yeah, like if you had taken a nap, woken up, gone to see your mother, you didn't say, well, I gave the dog a bath or I hopped in the hot tub. I'm trying to think of all the reasons they're, you know,
What I liked about the Blanca interview is she knew their habits. She knew that it was unusual when she arrived at the house the morning after the murders that there weren't any plates on, in the den. I guess it must be nice. It must have been nice to be a Murdoch at at the time, because when she came the next morning, there usually plates and stuff, and she would just clean up all the food that she had made the night before, plates and stuff that needed to be washed. So she knew that that was unusual, and that the pots weren't still on the stove, that and that Maggie would have never put, if she was going to save food, she would have either frozen it or put it away in Tupperware. She wouldn't have just put the pot of
Hot.
made.
That's like something my husband has been known to do,
But you
is put
but
refrigerator.
that, like, I would really have to be tired, or there have to be a reason. But uh,
Right. But, I mean, I have seen that happen in my own house.
Cuisinart, or not that, like if you have like a Dutch oven one, like that's the, you know,
Mhm.
that or whatever, that's iffy. You could put that in there.
Well, no, I think this is just like Adrian went to bed early one night, and it was, like, in an effort to, save the food with minimal effort. Just put the whole pot in there.
There. But okay, so that's what I'm asking you. Would you put, so yes, the metal
No,
pot,
I would never do that. No. Like, right now, I need to go in there and put the stuff in the Tupperware.
like Le Creuset ones like that, the ones that are, would you put that in that?
I think I would. I mean, yeah, I would, especially, like, if I make beef stew or something, and the next day I think, "Well, I'm gonna keep cooking it."
Like that, I'll put that whole thing in there.
Yeah, but not what I envisioned going in the fridge at the Murdoch's house was like a a pot with a handle.
No, yeah, like the metal pot with a handle that you like heated up your spaghetti sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's kinda what I envisioned. Um, does Blanca have Maggie's dog?
Yes, she does. Bubba. And Bubba,
And how did Bubba end up with her versus, like, Buster?
I think that, back again, she did not believe that Alec was involved in the beginning. So I think she was caregiving for the house, and she was, you know, still working there and taking care of the dog and stuff around the house after Alec went to jail, because he went to jail, he was indicted on the financial crimes that kept him in jail. And so she was kind of still keeping the household stuff. And so I kind of
Mm,
think a natural, but you need to get some specifics, because I did not ask her about exactly how it came to be that she kept Bugger.
and does she keep up with Buster?
She seemed like, when just from I don't believe she does. I didn't specifically ask her that, but I think when she started being there more full time was when Buster had already left to go to school. So I think she was much closer to Paul and Maggie. And she did indicate that Maggie was kind of shunned by the community after the boating accident. So she was kind of,
Her confidant?
they became much closer during that time period because of the fact that um you know she came back working, and Maggie was going through all these things, and she didn't have a lot of other people at that point.
Right, right, right. Well, yeah, I'm hoping to have her on next week. Maybe I'm thinking maybe Wednesday. And you've got your new episode just dropped. What do
Yeah,
you have
on you,
coming up next?
you're a YouTube person, because we're getting into that impact of influence.
Well, Impact of Influence on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple
Where
something.
I'm sure there's a bunch of other places to watch.
I I like YouTube. I
I
think YouTube is meant for someone other than me, but I do like it.
myself, I want to cry. I hate it. I'm like, I like doing episodes so much better because I write most of our not when we do an interview, but like I usually write most of our episodes, and I will get up there. I will get up, you know, usually I'll start a couple days, but I will get up in the morning. Sometimes, especially when we're going through lots of legal documents, because we don't just cover Murdoch, we've covered lots of different things. And I'll be reading these legal documents. My hair is sticking up everywhere, and I'm like, I just want to roll in. I don't want to feel like I have to like look like good enough to be on camera. And then a couple times I've gotten into fights with Matt because I'm like, Matt, you look way better because you put me close to the camera and I look like I weigh 400 pounds and it focuses on my wrinkles and all this stuff. Stop it. You got to get me away from the camera. And then he's like, okay, we'll work on our angles. But then we never do because I'm like rolling in to get it done. So, anyway,
You just have to not you just have to let it go. What
not,
other
not
what other what other things are you working on right now?
The week before last, we had Logan Federico's father on, who is the girl. I don't know if you've followed this case at all, but it's saddest thing. His daughter was murdered in May. She was visiting friends at the University of South Carolina. She's from North Carolina, and he just
Yes, yes, yes.
it's really a horrible, sad thing. But he's really fighting for legislation that would keep kind of these career criminals.
'Cause she was just visiting at a friend and staying at a friend's house.
Oh, and the person had walked into the house next door, and there was a, a shotgun. And he took the gun, and then he came in. He was robbing them, and he shot her. I mean, it's just, and the person had been arrested like 39 other times. It is horrible. We're having on we're having Valerie Berline on to discuss the Scott Spivey case. We've had her on a couple times, and we've had my dad, who's a lawyer, on to talk about the logistics. That's a case out of Horry County, South Carolina. It was this road rage incident where the person who shot has said, I was stand your ground. I felt fearful, and the attorney general, agreed with that ruling. But there's been a lot of outrage because subsequently, after there was kind of a police cover up, and
Mhm.
the guy who did the shooting kind of bragged about some things, said he enjoyed it. It's kind of a crazy case. And we're having Cask and Crime. I saw you had him on. I didn't know you did, about talking about Stephen Smith. He's broken some stuff in this Stephen Smith case. So we've got lots of like, I thought when Murdoch ended, we would have nothing to talk about. But like, I kind of love the stuff we're talking about now even more. Like, we have so much like really interesting stuff. So check us out.
Well, I, one thing I've been talking a lot about lately, and it's not crime in the sense that we think about crime, is Camp Mystic.
I
And
followed your Camp Mystic stuff because that is really crazy.
it's really, I was, like the rest of the world watching Camp Mystic and the death of, 27 girls. And when I wrote about it few weeks ago, a few things had just come out. They had just released, well, for the camp flood emergency plan, which was stay in your cabin. And I was like, and then Camp Mystic said, "Oh, guess what? We're going to be opened up. We're going to open up this summer." And so I kind of wrote my thoughts on that and heard there's some people that love Camp Mystic. They are into Camp Mystic like they are.
Seems like a
I don't
cult like.
and like you're from South Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. Our kids went to camp. I went to camp. Like this is not a novelty to me or maybe to you. But what is
Camps are great for kids.
yeah, love camp. We also love safe camps. But I probably had 6 of the families who lost daughters reach out to me. I never reached out to any of them who would do that and said, "Thank you for talking about this."
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, if you're thanking someone for talking about that, then we need to be talking about it. So what they hear constantly, and then I heard from a zillion other people that are like, "Ah." "You have no right. You're not from Texas. You know, you blah blah blah." Um, but the parents really are like, it's not. This could have gone very different, and it's not. I do not think it is arm quarterbacking, whatever they call it, armchair quarterbacking. I mean, this is they followed a faulty plan, and that's what happened. It wasn't this flood that nobody expected. Like this was not a shock that this happened.
Okay, this makes me so mad that people are telling you, "Hey, you can't talk about it," because we got that. Like, at the beginning, they're like, "Unless you live in the Low
Don't
Country,
know
like,
feelings. How dare you say anything?
how dare you talk about it?" That makes me mad. That how dare you talk about something? The other thing that makes me really mad is like, like, shoot, my brain just clicked out again. Wait, how dare you? Wait,
So
you're
I said they get mad that they say you're not from Texas.
telling me what
You
what you have to care about. Like that's the other those are my two like don't tell me what I have to care about or that I care about something more because it's in my own backyard than I care about something else. It's very annoying.
well, I'll be darned if people were like, "Oh, it's, clickbait." Let me tell you something. You ain't making any money on nothing anymore anyway, much less politics or something when everybody sends you hate messages. All you do is lose followers. I don't know if you noticed that, but like I had a message.
Like I mean, that's also the greatest thing. I don't know, did you turn 50 yet?
Yeah, I'm 50.
Okay, so that's the greatest thing about turning 50 because you're like, I don't care. Like if you don't like me, I don't care.
Yeah, I really don't care. I don't love to lose followers though
No,
and have people be like, "You're doing this for followers." I'm like, "I'm losing them." Every 3 weeks it's like, "You've hit what 360?" I'm like, "I hit 360 3 years ago." For
I know.
the
Well,
not
yeah, for us, we obviously were gonna have a height when the Murdoch was like really super big, and like I love the stuff that I'm covering now even more than I love. Like I'm really passionate about a lot of these things that we're talking about now, and I love the hard work that we're putting into it. And you're like, but I think, you know, why don't we just go with quality rather than quantity? We've got people who really are, the people who love what you're doing and love what you're talking about. And who cares when people say you can't talk about something or you have to care about something that you really, it's not that it's not worthwhile, but you only have enough brain cells to cover certain things. You can't cover everything.
I wish you and I could make some headway on Shanquella Robinson.
That one breaks my heart. There are several other like that
Dejanay Jackson
case.
evidently changed her name legally.
Wait, who? Wait, say that again.
My understanding is that Dejanay Jackson changed her name legally.
Hmm. I mean, we interviewed her dad, and having her dad on. I'm not super great with like people who are grieving because I think I don't know. I don't know what it says about me. I just have a hard time with it. It's just really uncomfortable. And her dad really the same thing. I'm getting better at it because I've talked to so many. I can't tell you. Over the last year, I've probably talked to 10 parents who've lost kids in really, really, really tragic ways. But it's an
Mhm.
full conversation. But like Shanquilla's daddy just wants the word out. And, you know, like we had my dad on to try to do, like, we try to bring as much attention to it. It's just such a bad situation with the laws, you know, being international.
I just think if there weren't a video of her being beat to death, if there was no video, I could see that it could be difficult.
Yeah.
But the video is what really got got me with that. Have you had on this Brandon Guffey?
Yes, we have.
I really enjoyed him. I'd like to have him on again.
Oh, I loved him. We had him on to, talk about his, like again, talking about somebody who has had honestly one of the worst things you will ever hear. when Brandon's son, I don't know if your listeners know, but Brandon's son was the victim of sextortion. It was out of Nigeria. The man has been extradited here and is awaiting, awaiting a hearing. But his son was like, he was, I think, 16 or 17 at the time.
Or in high school, yeah,
Right. And my son was the same age at the time, and you could just see it. He thought he was communicating with a high school, or a college age girl, and she asked for a picture, and he provided it, and then
right,
they tried to extort him. And but I love the fact that he is like, this is the worst thing ever, but I'm going to try to make change and make this not happen to another kid. Like, I
mm,
mean, I just
mhm,
found that just so incredibly
right,
inspiring. Somebody could have just this tragedy instead of just crawling up in a ball, which I think most people, or I would certainly do. He was like, "No, I'm gonna like make change and try to stop this from happening and prevent this." Ma-
right. Yeah, like the Camp Mystic thing, I mean, those parents were like, "Okay, what can we do to change the law?" Like, that's first, we're gonna do that first, and then we're gonna and then I think what you and I do for a living is we're trying to bring sharing things so that other people know about it. Like if you don't share, like, hey, choose a camp that's accredited. Like, oh, wait, what is that? What does that mean? These are life changing discussions.
Well, and okay, so this is what I'm thinking too. So I've just because I've had this after watching the Hulu series, which again I found entertaining and great. I thought the acting was really good. But we're making money off of talking about other people's tragedies, and so at times I've struggled with that. But then when you do something like this, and you're like, hey, let's bring awareness to this. Let's bring on Brandon Guffey to talk about this awful thing, and how can we prevent our kids from being
Right.
sexted, or just all the things like, okay, so let's not just try to make this entertainment. Let's try to make it, not that I'm like some big changer or anything like that. Look, I watched the Hulu series. I loved it. All of that, but it's just kind of a balance of, you feel good when you do something that can help somebody or
Yeah,
bring awareness to an issue that could prevent something for somebody else.
totally agree. Well, we always say this, it's probably more me than anybody. I have a senior in high school, so we are just
Me
he's
too.
got oh god, the college thing.
Oh, it's my third, so like I'm kind of somewhat, I'm not as I'm
I'm
like,
not worried about it. Where now I feel good. He only has 1 essay left. Getting him to get the essays done was a form of torture. My oldest one did not need as much pushing.
well, see, I think I'm lucky because it's my third. I have two boys, and I really had to push them. She just got hers done. She
Oh, I can see my daughter doing that.
she is like good. She's already, we actually toured the coolest thing. We toured Auburn, Alabama, and Ole Miss. We were on fall break the week before last, and it was the
Mhm.
coolest thing. So we show up, and we have a friend of mine from Birmingham had arranged this VIP tour for us, and we were kind of like, oh, it's going to be a 6 hour tour. Do we really need a 6 hour tour? So we get there, and we get to the administration office, and the lady was like, "Hey, have you checked your email this morning to Sophie?" And she was like, "No." We're like, "Oh, she's already been declined." We were really stressed out. She's like, "You got accepted today." And then I start crying, which I think embarrassed her, but it was it was so cool because it was her first college acceptance. And then we got this VIP tour, which was amazing, where they toured us all around the campus on a golf cart. We met with So super impressed with the business school. We had a tour of the business school. We met with an administrator there,
This
and then,
Auburn,
no, this was Alabama. Auburn,
Alabama.
yeah, we did tour Auburn. We have not heard from Auburn. I'm not overly optimistic because Auburn's gotten super hard to get into, and
Well, somebody
we're not.
recently, one of my friend's child applied there, and she, it's a girl, was deferred. She's gone. She's gone. Seton Tucker. I gotta go get Amos to bed anyway. But come back. She's about to join again. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see.
Mm.
Oh, I hear you.
I don't know. My dad tried to call me,
Oh gosh,
but
that's the truth.
I think my dad tried to call me, and now I don't know what happened to my video. But
Oh, I just turned mine off by accident. Well, thank you for coming on, and I could do this every week if we have time. I would love it.
yeah, no, let's do it. I love chatting. I've been missing you and at our
I,
chat.
I miss you too. I got to go get Snooky to bed.
All right. Good night.
Okay. Bye. Talk
Bye.
soon. Coming on. Impact of Influence, everybody. Seton Tucker and Matt's amazing podcast. So go listen. And next week, look forward to having Blanca on, and I'll let you know about the date. Bye.